He believed she had betrayed him. He had trusted her completely and shared everything about himself with her. He loved her in a way he had never loved anyone before, openly, deeply, without restraint. She was the one person who had ever seen him without the walls he built around everyone else. She had leaked classified information that almost destroyed his career overnight. Everything pointed to her. He didn't ask questions. He didn't look deeper. The shock turned quickly into silence, and then into a cold, controlled anger he didn't know how to release. He cut her off completely and disappeared from her life, rebuilding his company piece by piece, refusing to let anything remind him of who she had been to him. After that, he changed. He became distant and closed off, speaking less, trusting fewer people. The warmth he once had faded. He stopped allowing anyone close enough to matter. The only person he consistently spoke to was his best friend, who stayed by his side and constantly advised him to let go of her, to move on, to forget what she had done. But Sabastian never stopped loving her. He buried it under anger, silence, and distance, even in his success, even as his name recovered and grew stronger than before. There was always a space in him that felt unfinished. Every attempt to move on failed, because nothing ever felt like her. Deep down, he wished she had reached out. He wished she had told him what had happened, even though nothing could justify what she had done. Still, he wanted to know. Leah never defended herself. She didn't try to explain. She didn't fight to be believed. She simply vanished from his world and stayed just close enough to see him from afar, still loving him in the quietest way possible, never letting it show. She watched him become colder, watched him shut people out, watched him turn into someone who no longer smiled the way he used to when he looked at her. At first, it was subtle, some small moments that disturbed the control he had built, a figure that looked too familiar, a presence that felt too close. The quiet sense of being watched, not with danger, but with something that felt like memory. He ignored it until he couldn't. The moments began to repeat, each time. They felt closer and more real, until one night, it became impossible to ignore again. He saw her, Leah, not a memory, not the past, but real. She stood under dim light, unchanged, with no fear or urgency, just a quiet stillness, as if she had always been there. She walked away, and for the first time in years, Sabastian followed. Something shifted in him then. The anger he had held onto for so long no longer felt as certain. It was still there, but it was no longer enough to silence the questions rising within him. Sabastian ran until Leah was tired, into a dark alley where he finally caught up to her. He stopped, breathing hard, and looked at her. At the woman he loved so much. At the woman who had left his life in pieces. At the woman he had risked everything for. She was still beautiful, and she still made his heart react in a way he could not control. For a moment, everything they had came back to him. And then so did the memory of how it ended. His expression hardened. Even in her betrayal, he had protected her. When he was asked how the information leaked, he said nothing and claimed he did not know. Only his best friend knew, the truth he refused to speak. And now she stood in front of him as if none of it had happened. The anger returned, quick and familiar. He spoke, his voice sharp at first and then no longer controlled. Every word carrying what he had buried for so long. Every question sounding like an accusation. Leah did not back down. She was tired. Tired of being misunderstood. Tired of denying something she did not do. Tired of seeing that look on his face every time he looked at her. She denied it again, calmly this time, without trying to convince him. He did not believe her. She saw it immediately and chose not to argue further. She walked away, leaving him standing there. Sabastian did not follow this time. He got home later, the silence heavier than usual, replaying everything, every word, every expression. He tried to hold on to the anger, but something about her felt different. Something he could not explain. She looked different, maybe thinner. Maybe not, he was not sure, but it stayed on his mind longer than it should have. The next night, he was done thinking. He needed to see her again. He called his men, asked for her address, and before he could change his mind, he was already on his way. When the door opened, Leah froze. She was not expecting him. Not after everything. not after the way he had looked at her. She did not even have time to speak before he stepped forward and kissed her. It was not planned or controlled. It was everything he had been holding back. She stood still at first, shocked, trying to process what was happening. Then a sound broke the moment. A cry, soft but clear. They both heard it. Sabastian pulled away immediately and looked past her, his expression changing. Another cry followed. He did not wait. He walked inside. There she was, a baby girl crying softly. He stopped and stared. Then another sound came. And he turned, a boy the same age. His mind did not need time to understand. It had only been a year. He looked at them again. Slower this time, taking in every detail. Something familiar, in a way that could not be ignored. They were his. The realization settled quietly but completely. And a tear fell before he could stop it. Behind him, Leah began to explain. Her words coming quickly as she told him when she found out, why she stayed away. How she did not know how to come back after everything that happened. Sebastian was not listening. He walked closer and picked up the crying baby without hesitation, holding her carefully, as if afraid she would disappear. She calmed slowly in his arms. That night he did not leave. He stayed, sitting there as they slept, watching them for hours without moving. His eyes traced every detail, every small resemblance, the curve of their faces, the familiar marks. The truth was right in front of him. Leah stood a short distance away. Quiet now, the guilt heavy and constant as she watched him, knowing there was nothing she could say to change what had already been done. Sebastian eventually left his children's side after they had fallen asleep and went to sit beside Leah. He offered her a blanket, and she accepted it quietly, resting against his shoulder. Neither of them spoke for a while. The silence was no longer tense. But it was not easy either. That night shifted something between them. For the first time, Sebastian allowed himself to consider that she might have been telling the truth all along. If Leah kept insisting that she did not betray him, then he would find out what really happened. The next day, he set up a team to investigate everything that had taken place the previous year, every detail surrounding the leak. This time, he chose the people himself, carefully, and made sure the entire process remained private. While the investigation went on, he found himself returning to Leah's place more often. At first, it was for the children, but it did not stay that way. He lingered longer than necessary, sometimes saying little, sometimes watching her move around the space that had become her life without him. He resisted the urge to kiss her again after what happened at the door, holding himself back each time the thought crossed his mind. Still, he was glad that she allowed him to be present in his children's lives, and in a small way, in hers too. Days passed, then weeks, and the answers finally came. One hot afternoon, his men called. They had found something unexpected. The next day, the press gathered as news spread quickly. Sebastian stood at a distance, his expression unreadable, as his best friend was led away in handcuffs. The man he had trusted for years, the one who had stood beside him through everything, was the one responsible. He had leaked the company's information. Sabastian had never even considered the possibility. The truth was simple and cruel. He had only told Leah, but his friend had gained access, taken what was not his, and passed it on to a rival company. That same day, he refused all press appearances. He ignored the calls, the questions, the damage control waiting for him. None of it mattered. There was only one place he needed to be. He went straight to Leah. When she opened the door, he did not hesitate this time. He stepped in, his composure gone, his voice unsteady as he spoke. He told her everything, what he had found, what had been done, how wrong he had been. He apologized, not once but repeatedly, for not believing her, for not trying to find the truth sooner, for choosing anger over trust. He told her how much he loved her. And then he asked for another chance. Leah stood there, taking it all in. The weight of everything they had lost, and everything that had been revealed settling between them. She was hurt, more than he could fully understand. But the love she had for him had not disappeared. It had stayed, even when she tried to let go of it. She did not answer immediately. She let the silence sit, let him feel it, let him understand what it cost. Then, slowly, she nodded. She forgave him. Not because it was easy, and not because nothing had happened, but because she still wanted a life where he was part of it. She gave him another chance, yes. She would be his woman, and he would be her man. If you enjoyed this video, then like the video and subscribe to this channel for more romantic love stories.